So over the last few days, I've been taking some notes, writing down some predictions in my notepad. That's what I've been doing with my lunch breaks at work. And I wanted to talk about all these predictions for 2026. There's about 4 points here, 4 major points that I want to talk about. I don't really have a hook. I don't have a script. It's just me looking through my Cliff Notes and kind of riffing on this. Either way, thanks very much for clicking on this video. My name's Bishop, part-time narrator, full-time liability. And this is your friendly reminder that all you're going to be hearing today is just pure speculation. Now, we're going to start with the GTA6 delay. I never thought that the game was going to be released in November. It was even before Jason Schreier's report or its podcast where he's revealing that there's some polish needed, some stuff is not finished, and then a lot of workers or a lot of coders and stuff saying that the game was not really ready to be released. Now, the reason why I never thought it was going to be released in November this year, it's because I don't think it's a proper date to be releasing the game. Now, hear me out on this one. A game such as GTA, I think it's something to be released at the start of the year, just so they can capitalize on all that money going in from the start of the year, and also has to do with their the time where their fiscal reports and whatnot. All of this, right, has nothing to do with gamers. All of these are numbers. All of these are appeasing stockholders and whatnot. And what I think it was going to happen was the game to be released at the start of the year, something like March, April-ish, and then he gets the Easter holidays, kinda, the kids getting the game for Easter holidays, and then towards the summer they get, okay, I made it to the next year. Can I get a new console or something? And then they get the game for the summer, even though during the summer people might not be so attached to the consoles and whatnot, or computers and whatnot. And then they will double dip during the Halloween season or back to school. And then they will triple, quadruple dip during Christmas. To be released, to release the game in September, October, November, for me, it doesn't really make much sense. I think that the game is going to be released, is going to be delayed. Now, initially, I also thought that this had to do with PlayStation, because I always thought that Rockstar and Sony were kind of like in cahoots. And because the PS5 and PS Pro don't have that many exclusives, even though GTA wouldn't be skipping the PS5 entirely, because I think that would be insane. They would be definitely trying to optimize this for the next generation of consoles. And because I've always said that the 2027 is the year where PlayStation would release the next generation, PlayStation 6, I thought that this was going to happen. So GTA, I don't think it's going to be released this year, not just because it needs like a little bit more polish or because they don't want to create this cyberpunk style legacy, whatever. I think it's because it has to do with just the numbers, and I think it's going to make way more sense to release this the following year during March or something than in November. Whichever it is, it's gonna break records and whatnot. Now, I also think that with the game being delayed, we get into our second point, which makes 2026 the year of the indies. So I think AA and AAA pipelines are just so bloated, and they're just so risk averse, and then they're so slow. It's just, I think the indie games ship way faster, and then all this interaction with players, all these small studios actually talking to players, which is something that you don't hear from like the big studios. Even though they're using a lot of AI for tools and whatnot, I do think that this is going to be the year for indies. Another reason is because I think all of us gamers, we're sick of these 70, 80, 90 mediocre games. These everything is a live service. Everything has to be a live service. They need to sell you skins, subscriptions, and I think all of us are just tired of it. All we want is just to pay 20, 30 quid for a game and then just have a bit of fun with the game. And that's it. And even if the 20, 30 quid or 40 quid that we pay for a game only gives us like 40, 80 or 100 hours, I think it's well worth it. And I think that's where people are starting to go towards. They won't be replacing AAA, but I think by doing this, they'll be setting the tone, if that makes any sense. Now, I would say, because doesn't really matter how long this big corpo take to deliver this game. A polished third, it's still a third. I know. I wrote out this here. It's just like, it doesn't really matter how much they polish their games. If the game is garbage, like, we don't care. And they're so focused on these metrics that they forget that most of the times we focus on fun, and then they focus on this engagement thing where we need to be like doing dailies every day and log in every day and then buy skins, and we forget that just design is so important. I've been playing the Crew Motorfest, and then those menus, the design of it is just so clunky, but it's Ubisoft, like, and then they forget. Oh, and I wrote down another thing: monetization. They think it's way more important, and because of it, they lose identity. So I believe that all these creative decisions are made by people who don't play games. It's straight obvious, and they keep going for these like safe sequels, and then they replace these risky ideas, which is something that they can't seem to do. And at some stage, all this venture capital, all this money that they made where they can try new things, it's going to run out. And then eventually they're going to have to start making good games for us. But all in all, as I wrote here, it feels like the games were designed to appease the shareholders and not to entertain the human beings. Wait, I should have wrote down gamers, not human beings. Speaking of indies and all these AI stuff that has been used on games, one thing we need to remember is that AI doesn't replace creativity, taste, and vision. And when it comes to just using AI, it's nothing but a tool, something that is accessible for some of the developers that don't have the manpower, the firepower to actually deliver big games. So what happens is all these, I wrote down here, all these dog shit narrative, they have no cohesion, there's no feel in the game, it just feels so robotic. And then it's because it's AI generated slop. It's not humans, it's not people that enjoy games, it's people that are just trying to appease shareholders. I'm repeating my point here. But I think what all this led to is a lot of player fragmentation, in the sense that the game audience, it's not a game audience anymore. Like the cozy sweat lords, the junkies, modders, all these people, right? The big studios are trying to satisfy everyone, and because of that, they satisfy no one. And I think this is where indie games are going to be picking up the slack that it's been left by all these companies. There's been like so much pressure on these 70, 80, 90 quid games with microtransactions, subscriptions, and I don't think this is sustainable, because not all of us, like we can work 50-hour weeks, like we don't have money to buy all these things and then to play all these games. And if we did, games are shit. So I don't want to be spending 80 quid on a piece of shit game. So yeah, I think this is going to continue a little bit the trend where gamers are completely fracked. We just keep getting fracked by big corpos, by hardware companies, by everyone. And we've freaking built this industry. Anyways, that's all the notes I have for today. Thanks for riding shotgun. Bish signing out.